Honorable Men Discord. The bromance is done. Let's talk about it.
How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
As always, welcome back to another episode. I am not surprised by this at all. Let's watch the news report courtesy of CBS Texas, and we'll talk about it further.
Morning, more reaction now to the very public war of words between President Donald Trump and his ally, Elon Musk. It started with Musk slamming the president's so-called big, beautiful bill since he left his position with the administration just last week. Then yesterday, things turned personal. The president threatened to kill government contracts associated with Musk companies, while Musk shared a post suggesting that President Trump should be impeached. CBS News' Naomi Ruckham has more from New York.
I'm very disappointed in Elon.
A split between President Donald Trump and Elon Musk exploded on social media. It began days ago with Musk criticizing the president's big budget and border bill on X, calling it a big, ugly bill, arguing that it will add to the deficit, even pushing Republicans to kill the bill.
Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here.
Musk responded, "False. This bill was never shown to me even once." Soon, the insults grew personal. Musk, who spent more than $200 million on the 2024 race, posted, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election," adding, "Such ingratitude." President Trump threatened to cut billions of dollars in contracts and subsidies to Musk's companies, prompting Musk to threaten to decommission his Dragon spacecraft. Musk later walked it back. Musk also hit further below the belt. Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. A White House source responded, "If Musk truly believed President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were deeply involved, why did he hang out with him for 6 months?"
This divorce was predictable.
The fallout sparked reaction from the Beltway.
It's not helpful.
And beyond.
It's two egos going at it.
The public spat also sent Tesla stock tumbling 14 points yesterday. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Don't pay.
I mean, is there anything left for me to say that hasn't been said already in this news report? Listen, like the gentleman said towards the end of the video, this is definitely a case about egos clashing. The other thing that he forgot to add to that is it's a power thing. All right. It's definitely ego driven, but it's a power thing. All right. Because if I'm not mistaken, at some point when it was still Twitter, I think Trump was banned for a period of time, right? And then, obviously he had a friendship with Eli. So when Eli took over Twitter and made it X, Trump was back on the platform. And I know that has nothing to do with the bigger picture, but my point is that it's a power thing. It was a give and take exchange. They were helping each other, so to speak, with some of the things that they allowed, I never understood how Eli was able to fly rockets. Now, I'm going to need the viewers' help on this, all right, because I'm not well-versed in all things Elon. I'm not well-versed on all things Elon. But I grew up in a time where the only U.S. craft that was allowed to leave the atmosphere was through NASA, right? Was through NASA. Those were the only crafts that were allowed to leave the atmosphere, was through NASA. But I keep saying Elon and his ego, his power, yes, I guess you can say he's smart. He has to be some type of intellectual to achieve what he's achieved, unless he inherited the success. But Eli was able to fly rockets on several occasions, one which blew up, right? One blew up. And that's not to say that it was a failure, because NASA has had failed flights also. But again, for a long period of time, only NASA, to my knowledge, was flying crafts out of the atmosphere. Elon and his success, his I guess the respect that he gained from various people afforded him the right to fly a rocket out of this atmosphere several times. A craft. All right. Where am I going with this? How is that even possible? Those things I don't know about any of you watching this episode, but those things I looked at closely and said, how is he able to do that? He's not associated with NASA. I only knew that he was associated with the Tesla vehicles and solar power panels and things of that nature. He had nothing to do with space navigation, right? But yes, he was in the technology field, so to speak. So, he got involved in that, and he was flying crafts out of the, and I'm like, how does one man, because NASA was comprised of scientists, all right? This is where I'm going with this. NASA was comprised of scientists. Every time I could recall, NASA was flying a craft, it had scientists, the best of the best. At least that's what was told to us Americans. But here we have this guy involved in business who we've learned to associate with the cars, the Teslas. We have him flying spacecrafts out of the atmosphere. And for me, I sat back and I said, how is that even possible? How do you get clearance? And we may never know. If anyone who's watching this has documentation showing how that was possible, please let me know, because I'm curious. But again, we're talking about not just egos, we're talking about power. So now, that was one thing that I paid attention to. Another small thing that I paid attention to, and I know when I bring this up, some of you will look at it like, oh, this guy's just fishing for stuff to talk about. No. Because it's the small things that we overlook that says a lot. Okay, I'm going to say that again. It's the small things that we overlook sometimes says a lot. This man was in the Oval Office when President Trump was elected. And he was front and center. Trump is sitting down. He's standing as if he was vice president. We all saw it. We all saw it. And I'm saying to myself, why is Elon Musk even in the Oval Office? There's nothing wrong with him visiting. There's nothing wrong with if he's there, but off camera. But he's standing front and center. Forget about the fact that he had his son or something like that, and he had his son on the shoulders and stuff like that. That was like a whole spectacle that I was like, what exactly is going on right now? How is this possible? How it's possible is because there's, again, like I mentioned in a separate video, there's things that get done on certain levels that the regular common people, we have no saying. It just gets done, regardless if we like it or not. Things get greenlit, whether how we feel about it or not, it's gonna get greenlit. Because we don't have either the mental fortitude, we don't have the inside knowledge of certain things, whatever it is, we're not part of those conversations. And so things get done regardless of what we think about it or not. So what, it was on the news? You think President Trump, you think Elon at that time cared that he was standing there with his kid on his, in the Oval Office during important meetings for the American people, and he was wearing a hat on his head? That's what I wanted to speak about, the hat on his head. Now, gone are the days of etiquette that was taught to men. And I could talk about this also for a lengthy period of time. Gone are the days of etiquette, right? Now, it's clear that I'm a black man, right? And even I know about proper etiquette. Why? Because it was taught to me. Not necessarily directly from my parents, but it was taught to me as I was coming up in life. One of the things that was taught to me was when you enter a building, you're supposed to take off your hat. For those of you that agree that you've heard that in your lifetime, see me in the comments, say, I agree, I've heard that. Elon Musk was standing in the Oval Office with his hat on. And know that Oval Office is not a church, it's not a mosque, right? it's still a building. And I was taught at a very young age, as a boy, when you enter a building, you're supposed to take your hat off. And that includes do-rags and all those type of things. You take it off, unless it's for religious reasons. But you take the hat off. For the life of me, when I saw that on camera, I was like, what exactly is going on? It's bad enough that Elon is standing there. Like, I don't know what your connection to the president is, that you're allowed to stand there next to the president as if you're the vice president. And then secondly, you have a hat on your head. You're completely letting the American people know that you have way too much power. And that in itself was an issue that I had with seeing Elon Musk. And for that reason, that's the reason why there was a whole attack on the Tesla company, and people were just destroying Tesla vehicles. They didn't want to see that, because it's not supposed to be a relationship between the president and corporate entities, right? So I know it seems like a roundabout way I'm going about this, but this whole bromance, and the gentleman on the news report called it, the divorce was imminent, I think he said, or something along those lines. I saw this coming. I didn't know exactly when it was going to happen, but I saw this coming. Just it didn't make any sense why we were seeing this, you know. But as far as the funny thing is, the title of this whole episode, bromance, I was just playing with titles, you know, as far as, you know, something that sounded catchy and, you know, could sum up the relationship that these two public figures had. The funny thing about it all is that the aftermath is exactly like a bromance, right? Because why is Elon Musk speaking on Trump being associated with Epstein? It sounds like a bitter female that wants to destroy the guy because he found another woman. This is insane. This is insane to me. And it's happening in real time in front of our faces. But, and the takeaway from all of this is, in an imperfect world, many times as men, we find ourselves in situations where people speak down to us as if they got it all together, as if they have elevated to a higher level of understanding and the way they're supposed to conduct themselves, or the way man is supposed to conduct himself. But all we see throughout life, and as always, I reference certain things in my videos. The one thing that the takeaway from all of this is that it doesn't matter what age you are, you're going to see that grown people conduct themselves like children, like teenagers. This whole interaction between Trump and Elon, yes, it has to do with ego. Yes, it has to do with power. But some of the stuff that Elon's doing, and this is someone who's well off. Both of them are well off financially. You would think when you're well off, you're successful, you have some of the things that some of us that don't have look at as like, oh, I need to make it there. That's the mountaintop. But you're seeing people that are there conduct themselves in similar ways of people that don't have it. And it makes you wonder, when does anyone ever really grow up? When does anyone really mature? Who is the standard? What is the standard? And the takeaway, folks, is the fact that human beings are not the standard. I think that's going to be the takeaway that you should realize from several videos of mine. And this is not something profound that I came up with. The world is showing you. Don't look to man for understanding. All right? And I'm not making this about what religion to choose, but it's evident if you're paying attention. If you're really paying attention, man is not the solution. We're all imperfect. The problem is that too many of us profess like we've got it all together, like we're perfect, but we're not. All right, you're seeing it from Trump, who's the president of the United States. Not of McDonald's, not the manager of McDonald's, and that's not a shot at McDonald's. President of the United States, and then we have one of the world's top companies, leaders, or not, I shouldn't say leaders, administrators, or CEO in Elon Musk, and look at how he's behaving. This is like he's like a high school kid who's bitter. Oh, Trump was he was associated with the with Epstein. Why are you putting that information out? Why? And I think he's doing some of. I believe he put that information out on X, on his platform. It sounds like stuff that teenagers would do on Facebook. Put, teenage girls upset. She puts it on Facebook. Oh, he did this. He really, the pillow talk conversation is now public information on social media because you're upset, you're hurt. Folks, the $1 million question is, who do we aspire to be like? Who do we strive to be like? I know the answer, but I'll let you all figure it out. But as always, I appreciate you for tuning into this channel. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.